Please subscribe my channel. I never thought that feeling humiliated would be the moment that truly woke me up. My name is Ethan Brooks, 40 years old, married for 12 years, and always the reliable type. I truly believe that a strong marriage came from being patient, steady, and always being there, even when the excitement had faded long ago. I paid the mortgage every month without fail, fixed anything that broke around the house, remembered birthdays, and listened when nobody else would. I figured that was plenty. I figured respect would come naturally from all that effort. I was mistaken. And the night everything became clear started out quietly, the way most big changes do. It was a regular Tuesday, with rain gently tapping against the windows. The house carried a faint smell of laundry detergent and leftover spaghetti from dinner. My wife, Sarah, was lying next to me, scrolling on her phone. The screen's glow lit up her face far more than I ever did anymore. I reached over to touch her, not in a demanding way, just a gentle hand on her hip, a simple way to say, I'm still here. She let out a sigh, not very loud, but sharp enough to sting. Then, without even looking at me, she said it casually and cruelly. I was a disappointment in bed. She had hoped for more from a man my age, and maybe I should just accept that some guys never have what it takes. At first, I chuckled, not because it was funny, but because my brain refused to accept the harsh words. I asked what she meant, keeping my voice calm while searching her face for any hint that this was just frustration talking. She rolled her eyes and said it again, slower this time, like she was explaining something simple to a kid who wasn't getting it. There was no anger in her voice, just boredom. That cut deeper than any yelling ever could. I turned away, staring at the ceiling, feeling something deep inside me close up and lock tight. The days that followed all blurred into one. I went to work, nodded my way through meetings, came home, made dinner, and slept next to a woman who treated me like a broken appliance. I kept telling myself that words are only words. I kept telling myself that people say things they don't really mean when they're upset. What I didn't admit to myself was that once respect is lost, it almost never comes back. Sarah started making little comments, jokes laced with disdain, comparisons I never asked to hear. Each one hit me hard, even though she didn't seem to notice. The moment everything broke open came from an unexpected place. On Friday evening, Sarah invited her friend Lisa over for some wine. Lisa was someone I didn't know very well, sharp-eyed, thoughtful, the type who listens more than she talks. I planned to stay out of their way, but as I walked past the kitchen, I heard my name. Sarah was laughing, retelling her hurtful comment from before, adding extra details now and clearly enjoying sharing it. My chest tightened, but I stayed quiet, not wanting to barge in. Lisa didn't laugh. There was a long, awkward pause. Then Lisa spoke, her voice steady but strong. She asked Sarah if she understood how mean she sounded. She asked if putting her husband down like that was meant to make Sarah feel stronger. Sarah brushed it off with a scoff and tried to change the subject, but Lisa wouldn't drop it. She said that closeness in a relationship dies when contempt moves in, and contempt doesn't show up for no reason. She said maybe the real issue wasn't me at all, but a wife who had to make someone else feel small to avoid facing her own problems. Silence filled the room. That's when I stepped into the doorway, not to argue for myself, but because hiding suddenly seemed pointless. Sarah looked shocked, then quickly defensive. She started to open her mouth, ready with another comeback, but Lisa kept going, now speaking directly to me. She said I deserved respect, that no one should feel belittled in their own bedroom, and that love without kindness is really just control dressed up nicely. Her words weren't shouted or dramatic, but they hit exactly where they needed to. Sarah's confidence crumbled, replaced by something fragile and angry. She accused Lisa of picking sides, of not understanding, of making too big a deal out of it. Lisa just shrugged and replied, sometimes a friend from the outside can say what the person inside is too scared to face. She finished her glass of wine, picked up her coat, and left without saying anything more. The door closed gently behind her, but the house suddenly felt noisier than ever. Sarah turned her anger on me then, blaming me for making her look bad and for letting her friend get involved. I listened without interrupting, finally seeing the same old pattern repeat itself. Deflect the blame, make the other person feel small, take control. When she finally stopped talking and waited for me to say sorry, I told her I was finished accepting disrespect. I said I wouldn't share a bed, a home, or a future with someone who liked putting me down. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't throw insults back. I just set a clear boundary that she never saw coming. That night, I slept in the guest room. The next morning, I packed a bag. Sarah watched in disbelief, asking if I was seriously leaving over a few words. I told her it was never just the words. It was how easily she said them, the complete lack of regret, and her assumption that I'd stick around no matter how worthless she made me feel. I walked out feeling an odd sense of peace, like stepping out of a storm into fresh, calm air. I don't know what Sarah told herself after I was gone. I do know that Lisa's words stayed with me far longer than any insult ever did. They didn't destroy Sarah because they were mean. They shook her because they were honest. And for the first time in years, I chose my own dignity over just putting up with it and speaking up over staying silent in shame. That decision changed my whole life. Weeks later, things started feeling clear instead of confusing. I rented a small apartment in Denver, made easy meals for myself, and slept without all the tension in my body. Friends noticed I stood taller, spoke more calmly, and smiled without forcing it. I didn't rush to call Sarah the bad guy or paint myself as the good one. I simply accepted that some endings can be calm, fair, and needed. When Lisa reached out to check on me, I thanked her for her honesty, not for saving me. She reminded me that self-respect gets stronger when you practice it every day. I learned that true closeness needs safety, not fear, and love can't last where putting each other down feels normal. Leaving didn't destroy me. Staying would have. I finally started trusting my own instincts.